Hello, supercars in seconds here. This is one of my favorite modern supercars. This is the Lamborghini Huracan EVO. Now the EVO of course gets a much more aggressive diffuser up here and these super cool shapes, very Aventador in its look I think, with these extra Y shapes. Of course going back to the hexagon pattern that they've had for so many years in their designs. Beautiful wheel. This is Grigio Artis, A-R-T-I-S, in the matte finish. Pretty rare in the matte finish. Size-wise, really low. I love this way the windshield sort of A-pillar goes straight back into the back bumper. Almost, it's really cool. Only 46 inches high. So a perspective, a McLaren 570S, almost 48 inches. So it is lower with that flat windshield and absolutely enormous. What you'll see when we're inside, it's amazing how far from the steering wheel to the front of the windshield is. There's no way you could reach it. I'll show you that later on. Big Pirelli tires, 305 section up on the rear here, 305 up there. 15.5-inch front rotor, look at that thing. Great big carbon ceramic. I love the blue calipers on this one too. The key itself, just Lamborghini on it, nice chrome section on the end with the big raging bull there. And then we have just simple instructions, just lock, front trunk and unlock. But let's pop this front trunk, push this, and it'll pop it open after flashing the lights. And there's a little tab underneath, just lifts that straight up for us. And a smaller size, of course, only because we have another extra, gear box, an extra transmission up here to handle the power coming from the rear or the middle of the car, I suppose. Car cover in here. Good, and as an overnight bag would fit in there without any problem. So to close it back down, you'll hear the sound this makes. Very solid, and I think that's part of this car's appeal is its solidity, the quality of the vehicle. The way she's put together is really nice. All the shut lines super tight and so on. But that click and all these lovely geometric shapes around the front, really very pretty. What do you think of this wheel against the matte finish paint? I kind of like it actually. That makes the blue brakes stand out even more, I think. So I'll pull on it now and open up the door. I like the Huracan plates there, all super cool. Door panel has some, it's actually leather, but it's made to look like carbon fiber. That's just really cool how they've done that finish. Inside, of course, on other cars, you'll see this in the forged carbon. I actually like it in the leather just as much, the leather wrap around there. This is always very nice, the Lamborghini logo on that. It's actually like a plastic that's molded into these geometric shapes that we've seen throughout the car. Huracan on the floor mat with the blue piping and the blue accents within this new seat, of course, to pick up on the blue brakes on the outside. Okay, to take a look at the powertrain, there's not an obvious button to open it, and the vehicle has to be in accessory mode. In other words, they're not the engine on, but just in accessory mode. And down in the footwell, you've got two buttons down here, front trunk and rear trunk. You heard that one open. Let's go back now and take a look back here. What I like in all Lamborghini cars, you get to see the firing order of the 10 cylinders. And of course, 10 cylinders is rather unusual. You can see it's mid-engine, it's in front of the rear axle back here. 5.2 litre, so big engine, 10 cylinders, naturally aspirated, so you get that wonderful sound, of course. Driving the rear wheels and the front wheels, she's all-wheel drive. What's fun about the engine, if you'll notice, this cross strut would be the dead center of the car. The block itself is slightly to the left. That's to power the front wheels. They send a shaft down to the right side of the engine, standing here, to the front wheels to help make her all-wheel drive. In this guys, the EVO guys, 630 horsepower, but 442 pounds of torque. That's a lot. Going through a 7-speed dual clutch transmission. So the big car, the Aventador, still single clutch. Huracan, dual clutch, and frankly makes it a lot smoother because of that. Just a quick note here, if you're enjoying the content, please consider subscribing. Give me a like on this video. It really just makes them go crazy. I appreciate it. Thanks very much. And again, then that rear view is completely amazing. The vehicle does have all-wheel steering as well to work with that powertrain. Very impressive how it shrinks the car, even though she says she's 178 inches long. It does shrink the car and makes the initial turn in on a corner so different than the previous Huracan. It's quite impressive. I'm going to hit the unlock button here, and you watch the door handles. It's really cool. They pop out to greet you, and then as you close the door and start the car, they suck back in. Some nice, really interesting details that make it a very cool car to drive. All right, so we're in the car now, and that's the view that you'd have out of the windshield. And you can see top of the windshield there, bottom of the windshield here, but it's almost like 3 feet long. It's incredible. I'm going to reach as far as I can, and I can barely touch the top of the vent. There's easily 18 inches more dashboard. No way I could get anywhere near that, which keeps that super low and very sleek roofline. The startup process, of course, we lift up this little fighter pilot tab there, foot on the brake firmly, and start her up. Really a wonderful sound as the car roars into life. Actually got the front trunk open. I'll have to close that now. Down here we've got our modes. So we got obviously Strada, Sport and Corsa. When I click her down into Sport, you hear the exhaust there right away opening up, and really gives her just an amazing sound. What's super cool about this new engine is how fast it revs up. I'm just going to, the car is warm, so I'm just going to touch the gas here. Straight to 5,500 RPM and back in, what was that, 1.5 seconds. Very impressive. Down in the center console, we have this much cleaner looking screen than the previous cars, but they've still maintained that very Lamborghini sort of control. This is the window each side and so on. Nose lifter will lift the nose up and down quite a long way. Actually, I'll show you that in a minute. Stability control, hazard warning lights, parking sensors, etc. But the screen itself is really clean looking. Again, hexagon patterns like we've talked about already. And whatever you touch is where it goes. I'll touch navigation. The map is here. And very clear, nice font on everything. Your home screen, again, another hexagon pattern. Touch that, and it goes back to that main menu. And the main display in front of me, car running now. So I've got my little dials here. So I got Strada, Sport and Corsa for track. As I click it, it goes to the next one. And the display changes. So you'll see that we got the speed here, revs and so on. I'll click it down to Sport. Doesn't change it too much. The exhaust does open, and the traction control goes into a sports setting as well. I'll then go down to Corsa, and it gives that famous, very much this sort of Aventador look to it now. I love the coloring, the white and the very bright red do really make for a fascinating look. As far as drivability, you pull on the paddle here, which is beautiful, these lovely shapes on it, a very long paddle too. I'll go to the side, you can see how long it is, huge. So it's easy to find when the wheel is turned. I click it once and we go into drive, into first gear there. When I'm in Strada or Sport, I can then push this button and it will go back to being automatic. I don't need to use the paddle shifters. To go into reverse, it's not a button here, you lift this little part up here. Then it goes into reverse for us. No camera there. The camera's actually in front of me, which is rather nice because you're not steering when you're going slowly. You know, when you're really coming to a stop, when you need that, you hear the beepers there, you're going to be going slow enough that the wheel will be straight. You then have park, of course, when you reach your destination. So we're going to Batman's Corner. Actually a pretty simple launch operation. I've got it in Corsa. You just turn the traction control off in one of those buttons there and just use both feet. I'm going to push the brake hard. I got the window open so we can hear it. Wow. Very impressive. Unbelievable. I feel that four-wheel steer working on me now. Rolling into it. Now. Impressive. Okay, I'm going to hit the brakes really hard. Ooh, lock it up a bit. Wow, what a machine. Okay, we're in a pretty high gear there, but rather high revs. Let's click it down to third for this corner. Just turns in beautifully. You really feel that rear axle working. Amazing throttle response. Transmission just telepathic, follows my inputs very, very well. Some traffic I've caught up with there, but that's okay. Gives me time to breathe. Car's loud. It's really amazing to hear that big 10-cylinder behind you. And it's very much a push. It doesn't have the push of a turbocharged car, but it's nice the way that you can touch it with your right foot and it's right there. There's no weight. It's just instantly right there. Very, very impressive to drive. So I've got the car in Corsa again. We're going to pull off. We're in the manual mode. At low speed, the transmission is different than it is at high speed. At high speed, it gives you a nice jolt. At low speed, you don't even feel, at low revs, you don't even feel it changing. The sound out of this exhaust is incredible. You get the pops and bangs like that. Really make for a fun experience. The engine is so lively, it spins up so quickly. Second gear, into third. Once you get up around 5,000 or 6,000, it has an amazing push from the engine. It really does push on you very, very hard. Let's try that again. There. Oh, she's quick. Good Lord. Really engaging to drive. A fun car to be in. Well, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. The car is wild. What's fun about it, one of my favorite things, I'll point you back at the car. One of my favorite things being naturally aspirated, you have to drive it. You can't just cruise around in fourth gear. You got to jam it in second and blast on it. It really makes for an exciting experience. And in those long, super high speed sweepers I was doing, not of course that I would ever break the speed limit, but on those super high speed sweepers there, you actually feel that rear wheel assisting halfway through the corner, and she just tightens her radius. It's very impressive to feel that. The big diffuser on the back, lots of cool. I think they've improved the rear end of the car tremendously just by having these large exhaust pipes a little bit higher up. Again, thanks for watching. I'll catch up with you soon. This car has been really fun. I've enjoyed it very much. I'll look forward to seeing you on the next video.